Good morning, everyone. Thanks for the invitation and for being here with us today. My name is Patricia Astrain. I am founder and CEO of Recircular. And let's see if it works. Sorry. So now I have to go back. So I like to start my presentations with a question. What do you see here? Pretty obvious, right? Well, where you see waste, we see opportunity. An opportunity to generate positive impact and business, why not? Because if in all our houses we generate huge amounts of waste, imagine what happens in our businesses and in our industries. Well, exactly the same. We generate millions and millions and millions of tons of different types of waste. Waste that has value in it, that has materials with lots of value in them. Around 3 billion euros in Europe yearly, that's the estimated value of the waste that our industries generate. And as I said, there is materials there that we need to manufacture things. The cost of raw materials doesn't stop increasing. It has doubled in the last decade, and recently we have all faced situations with the problems with the geopolitical situation. We see it in the supermarket when we go to buy things, that everything is more expensive. But companies have also faced this problem, not only of prices, but also of scarcity, and they had to stop production lines. At Recircular, we started looking into this situation some years ago. And we saw that there is a complexity to the materials and the waste that we are generating, that is mixes of lots of different materials, and also to the regulation and the situation that we are living right now. But also a lack of information about what to do with all of that they are generating, all those materials and waste that they are generating, and a lack of connection. And we thought, how can we solve and how can we contribute to solving this issue? Well, connecting companies so that the materials or the waste of a company becomes a raw material for another one, substituting this way the need to extract, process, and then use virgin raw materials. Because if you see this image, there is lots of plastics here, right? And we all say, well, it will be recycled probably. Well, lots of these plastics are not recycled right now, but they can be turned, for example, into a bench where we can sit on parks. Oops, this image is not very nicely today, but, well, you can see the textiles there. Piles of textiles in different countries that we still face. If we could turn them into insulation material, for example, acoustic or thermal insulation for buildings, offices, why not? Or such an equipment. This is a huge mill, a real mill from a factory that was being demolished, that we have been working on. If we could extend the life of this product and don't turn it into scrap metals, the life of it and how the value of it would still remain for a longer time. So at Recircular, we want to precisely do that. And we do it with our digital platform because it helps us automatize the processes. It helps us automatize those connections that we need to do and scale, reaching not only any type of waste or any type of material, but also any type of company, no matter how big or small it is. Because one of our main goals is to generate opportunities also for smaller companies, those that don't have departments focused on HSE or environmental departments or waste departments, so that everyone has an opportunity to give those resources a second life. And how do we do it? Well, the way our platform works is the companies register and upload information about the available resources, and our AI starts working and identifying what can be done with those resources and what users can use them within our platform. So we automatically notify them that they can use something that we have available, even if they don't know that they can use it. This way, if love happens, like on dating sites or dating apps right now, transactions are closed within our system, so we have the full traceability and transparency of what happens with those resources. And we also calculate the environmental and social benefits generated. Because one of our main goals is to make sure that companies understand the value that they are generating when they focus on giving those resources a second life. So we have developed our own methodology with which we calculate indicators such as reduction of CO2 emissions, reduction of water and energy consumption, and improvement of life expectancy. And we generate reports for our users so they can automatically download them and use them in different CSR strategies, circular economy strategies. Because, as I said, one of our obsessions is to make sure that we can measure the impact that is being generated and that everyone can see the value that they are generating. And obviously contributing this way to the Sustainable Development Goals. So, as I mentioned several times, one of our main focus is to generate a triple bottom line. We focus on the economic side because we want companies to generate savings as well. Savings on the waste management side and on the secondary material acquisition side. And also together with the environmental and social benefits that we calculate and report so that they can use those reports, as I mentioned. So why do we feel that digitalization was important in this process? Because originally, some of these things that we are doing right now were done just picking the telephone or just calling someone. Well, first, because we are giving visibility to all those materials that companies have stored and no one knows that are there. Sometimes not even the company that has them. There's storages everywhere with lots of materials. We want to give them visibility. This is a showroom to the world where you say, hey, I have this, and I am not using it. Maybe you can use it. In this way, we can give second lives to all these materials. Transparency and traceability, this was mentioned before as well. If we digitalize the whole processes, we know where the materials come from, where they are going. We know who is doing what with what and how all these materials are being processed or reused or recycled. And this also comes into accountability of what the companies are doing with all those resources. In our case, we can even store that information in blockchain if that's important for the company. And obviously, because we want to create value impact at scale. So we want to be able to reach more resources, more companies, more countries, why not, so that we can keep giving second lives to all these resources. But we also are working with AI, as from the title, I'm sure you guessed from the title of the panel. And I'm going to say some things that were already said before, just emphasize them and adapt them to what we have been doing with AI within Recircular. Because we were not born as an AI platform, but we have been implementing AI in different ways. One of our main goals, obviously, was to use AI to give a second life to more and more and more resources. To help us do that, what we are doing is we are improving suggestions within our marketplace to our users. So we are telling our users that, hey, based on who you are, what company you are, what you are doing within our platform, and what we know of other companies within your field, we think you may have this material that you are not using. Maybe you can publish it. You can publish it in our marketplace so someone else can use it. Or maybe you are interested in getting this other secondary raw material that we have available for you. We are working on identifying what materials are part of a waste that is being uploaded in our marketplace. Because lots of times, as I mentioned, these mixes of materials. So we are feeding our internal database with new information about what materials are part of a waste stream or of a product that is being published. And we are also implementing computer vision. It's a very basic one, I have to say, but when a company uploads information, a picture of what they have, we can identify what it is, and we can categorize it in the right place. So this helps the platform to work much better. All the other AIs work better if we have everything in place with the right category and subcategory. So computer vision is a tricky one, and I'm sure there are much more advanced models than what we have. But definitely, we are using it right now on a daily basis by our users. And sometimes it works really, really well, like it identifies some steel powder, for example, that it's very difficult to identify just from the image. But then it has some problems categorizing, for example, orange peels, which is kind of weird. So we are still working on improving it, but we are getting there. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about our AI journey, because we didn't start, as I mentioned from the beginning, being an AI company. And if we have been able to implement it, being a startup and being a micro SME, I'm sure lots of companies here and that are watching us in streaming will be able to implement it. The most important thing for us was to align what AI could do for us with the objectives or goals that we had. So identify the goals that you have, the objectives, the bottlenecks that you are not being able to solve within your company. It may be within the company internally, it may be with the products or services that you sell. So make sure that you align those objectives so that AI makes sense. Lots of things can be solved without implementing AI, with other basic systems. So just implementing what you see that it makes sense for you and for those objectives that you have. In our case, we aligned it with our goal of how can we make sure that we help our users give a second life to these resources that they are not using anymore. So how can we give a second life to all that excess volume of materials? And we identified 3 different ways in which we could do it with AI. It was already mentioned before, data are very, very important. Otherwise, without data, it's very difficult to implement AI. We have our own huge database that we've been gathering for years and years of what can be done with each waste, with each material, how it can be reused or recycled. We have been feeding it within years manually. We have more than 3,000 lines, and that was even not enough. We had to work a lot on improving our data and putting them in a way that could feed the AI. Now what we are doing is AI is feeding back our database, so we can keep growing it. But obviously, we were lucky that nowadays there are lots of pre-trained AI models that we can use. So we also made use of that. We got a pre-trained model, we used our data on top of that, and you can do that as well. And so make use of all these resources and all these tools that are now readily available for all of us, because AI moves really, really fast. We started doing it a year ago, and now imagine the boom that AI is experiencing with so many tools that we all have available. Maybe we would have implemented it differently today than a year ago. So check and make use of all these models and tools that are available right now. And if you don't know it the same way that we didn't know, just check what you can or who you can ask in order to make sure that you pick whatever is right for you. And obviously grants, we got a grant to implement AI, so maybe you can use that as well. Use whatever grants are available nationally, European-wide, to implement AI different solutions or new technology solutions, digitalization grants, to make sure that it makes sense for your company. So just to finish, throughout the day, I'm sure you will see lots of different tech talks and panels like the ones we've been having during the morning. So think of what you want to accomplish, how you want to drive sustainability or circular economy within your organization, and how can tech help you do that. And obviously, you're welcome to join our waste revolution. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Hello. Thank you. I love what Recircular does. We've been in contact since, 6 years ago, something like this. I don't know if you have any questions about circularity and how Circular can help you to enhance your waste. Any questions? Oh, one over there.
Hi, thank you, Patricia.
Hi.
Like many times with circularity, the challenge is to find profitability in what you're doing and in the business case, because on my experience, I've worked on some projects that in the end don't come to life because the business case doesn't show positive numbers. So I wanted to ask you if you have developed or found or worked your way through developing new models to make sure that like placing the residues from one place to another is profitable for both sides.
Yeah, I mean, circularity, that's obviously one of the challenges within circularity. And we also face that with waste. and with the resources that we work with. There are several materials that have huge value and that travel very well. Everyone wants them. There are others that don't. And we face the same issue. We just focus on finding the right solution for each type of waste. So sometimes, obviously, there is an investment that is necessary. Unfortunately, there is not always a solution around that, with all the complexity that I mentioned that is around waste and all these mixes of materials. But sometimes there are solutions that are very, very straightforward and that we don't find them for whichever reason. We have been working with all sorts of materials. Imagine plastics from automotive industry and feminine hygiene products. Solutions can be very different for all of them. You just need to find how to connect the different parts to give it a second life. Sometimes it makes sense economically as well. Sometimes there is a need for investment from the company, and there is a need, but the economical side is not so clear. And we are still facing that, unfortunately. Unless landfills, the alternatives, so to say, get more and more expensive, we will still be facing that. But it's true that sometimes you need to look more, and we've been looking more and deeper into all these solutions or what can be done with all these resources, and we find solutions that were not in place before. So sometimes it's a matter of finding what and having the feeling of how to look or where to look, and definitely shifting the mindset within waste. This is not a waste, this is a resource that can be used. And that shift somehow changes a lot in the perspective and in the way you find solutions, to be honest.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Well, let's enjoy a quick lunch. We're waiting there with some food for all of you. And for the people who are in the streaming, we're going to be back at 3 p.m. Let's give an applause to Patricia, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.